Hello everybody, I'm back with a review. I haven't done any Raw or TNA or SmackDown reviews recently because I've been busy, yada yada yada, same old story. So this time I'm going to come back with a very interesting review that I am very excited to do. It is over the CM Punk Best in the World DVD, which is an amazing documentary. I don't know if I want to jump the gun and say it's the best documentary of a wrestler I've seen, but if any documentary could come close to being labeled as, the best, from my perspective, I would have to give CM Punk's documentary, the best documentary I've seen label. You know, maybe Chris Jericho probably comes really close, but I admire both men, so I'm going to be biased to both of them no matter what. So, of course, I'm going to consider them and their documentaries to be very excellent. So, anyways, um, prior to me buying this documentary, though, I will admit I'm pretty sure some of you may know, it was leaked on the internet through a torrent website, and then it was uploaded on YouTube where you could watch the entire documentary. And I came across it on YouTube um, a couple days before the DVD came out, and me being a true Punk fan, I wanted to wait and buy it in order to to see it. But then again, being a hardcore Punk fan, I couldn't wait to see it a couple more days because I've been waiting for months, to get my eyes to be glued on his documentary. And so I promised myself that after I watched the documentary for free on YouTube, which you guys decide whether that's a bad thing or a good thing, I was going to go ahead and buy the documentary right afterwards because I am a true supporter of CM Punk, and in order to follow through with that, I mean, you have to buy his stuff, his merchandise, his products in order to keep supporting him. And of course, I was gonna get it. I have to. I'm a huge CM Punk mark. And what way could I say thanks, in the least, besides buying his DVD. So I bought it, and plus there's like an hour, like an hour of special features, provided if you get the Blu-ray, that wasn't shown on the video that I saw on YouTube for free. So I had to go ahead and get that, and plus like the amazing matches that are on the DVD itself is pretty awesome, and that I'll find myself watching over and over again because I just love, watching his matches and stuff. So, anyways, because I'm gonna drag on a little more about that, and if you really support someone, you know, passionately, with like an ardent level of appreciation, you know, buy what they're featured in, because back in the Over the Limit pay-per-view, when I thought Daniel Bryan and CM Punk were going to main event the pay-per-view as well as they should have, I'm not a rich guy, and I'm never going to be any Steve Jobs, but I went ahead and made the plea to go ahead and buy the pay-per-view in order to support them, because I'm huge fans of them and they deserve the pay-per-view buys. So, because I think they're a good enough main event, at least in my eyes. So I went ahead and bought that pay-per-view just for them, because anything else was decent to good, but they were phenomenal. So they should have been the main event, instead of that shit main event that we got with Cena Laurinaitis. Anyways, I'm dragging on, trying not to do that anymore. So, anyways, okay, the documentary was already explained to be one that was set apart from any other WWE documentary, with the style and how the way it was constructed, and the features and the background and the music and stuff like that. That was going to be hands-on control, from Punk, which is awesome. That's cool because I want to see something different. So basically, the whole documentary, it starts off with his upbringing in his hometown of Chicago, and how he ran through the independents after starting, or not starting, but he started in a little backyard, federation, wrestling federation, and then he goes from independents like IWA Mid-South and Ring of Honor, and they didn't make any mentions of JCW or TNA in his DVD, which Punk did allude to TNA in like a very cryptic way. He was like, "Oh, well, I wrestled Wednesdays in Nashville," whenever he was talking about his schedule in Ring of Honor. So that was just like a little wink, but that was about it. And then he talks about that time, which I'm glad that they covered, for a good amount of time, because that was a huge part of his wrestling career. So I'm glad WWE decided to acknowledge that. That's great. And then it goes from places like IWA Mid-South and Ring of Honor to OVW, to where he felt like he was being degraded to having to be a wrestler there before he was going to be shot up to the main event roster, of Raw or SmackDown. And then it goes from there to ECW, to where he had kind of an advantage working there with Paul Heyman when nobody else wanted to accept him in any of the main event rosters, or the main rosters. They didn't think Punk was the cookie cutter kind of guy they wanted resembling and representing their company. So it documents him in ECW to get like the title shot against Morrison and winning, and then he wins the Money in the Bank match at WrestleMania 24, then goes to Raw, becomes world champion, and then after that kind of gets screwed by management, and then wins Money in the Bank contract again the next year, and then goes to SmackDown, and that shows where like they think he's really going to become like a key player, in the main event scene, and then on with the Straight Edge Society, and then after that Punk makes no acknowledgement of the Nexus whatsoever. So I guess that kind of goes to show like what he thought of himself being placed in Nexus, and that was around the time where he thought he deserved more than what he was being dealt with, and I immediately like agreed with that. Obviously, I mean, call me a fanboy, I am, but there is some truth behind that, and there is there should be some realization of how great of a heel he was and how he should have been, in the main event with Cena instead of Miz, because WrestleMania 27 is, referred to by many people as like one of the worst ever, and it was a huge letdown. And I feel that in my mind that if Punk and Cena headlined, that would have been a way better main event. But that wouldn't have catapulted Cena Punk into the position he is now. They talk about, they end the DVD with him being frustrated and unleashing that pipe bomb promo that he did on the 27th of June of last year, and then it shows him defeating Cena at the Money in the Bank pay-per-view and stuff. So that's where it shuts off, which I think is really good. That's a really great way to end the DVD. And basically, to summarize it all up, it's basically him being very just pissed off at like corporate and management, and like how he thinks that he should have been dealt the like the place on the roster, and then like the just like the matter of importance that he wasn't dealt with at first, but then he was dealt with later on. And the DVD isn't entirely negative, but I mean, he does make strong points of how he was pissed off at the world and how he was being screwed over. And a lot of it, I do think that he deserved a better chance at certain points in his career than other people got. That they were kind of almost handed because they were favored by the upper places in WWE and stuff. So I think that he pretty much told everything that he needed to tell that could be told in his career. Um, I enjoyed the choices of people that were picked to do the interviews and talk about Punk's life. I thought it was really awesome. Um, Guys like Paul Heyman and Michael Hayes and um, people like them were prominently featured in the DVD. And then we have like cool minor appearances by Lita and Chris Hero, and other people like that that detail certain parts of CM Punk's life and career, which without them would have made the DVD just a little less great. But I believe it's perhaps the greatest documentary I've seen, shelled out by WWE. So that's really awesome. And if you can afford to purchase the Blu-ray, I recommend it wholeheartedly. Get it, because the Blu-ray has about like 30 more minutes of special features, or perhaps even more, I believe. And it's not like real important stuff to like the casual viewer or like the public eye, but it's just like little tidbits of of what CM Punk was groomed on and what he went through in order to get to the top. Stuff like talking about about hanging like out with Eddie Guerrero and stuff like that, and his importance of like his tattoos and stuff like that. Like, I think that's cool to learn about, just for like the Punk fans and for any other casual fan that just has recently gotten into him. I recommend that. I think that's really awesome that they included so much footage of CM Punk talking about his life in there. That's why I prefer this documentary over almost any other, because there's just like so much footage, documenting Punk and who he is and how he became who the guy he is now and stuff. So if you are a huge Punk fan, I recommend getting the Blu-ray if you can. If you don't have the necessary player to play it, then get the DVD one. But I really recommend getting the Blu-ray player and then getting the Blu-ray disc itself for it. I mean, if you don't want to pay that much just to get the DVD, then I guess I understand. But if you can, get it, because it's really amazing and you'll be missing out, if you're a huge Punk fan. So anyways, long story short, this is a stupid statement, sorry, but it's an awesome DVD, and get it if you haven't. Every money's worth. And I think if like you go to Best Buy, they have like a sale on it, if it's available in your area. So yay if you get it on sale. So anyways, that's my review. Awesome. Get it. You won't regret it.